name is Robert Neville. I'm a survivor living in New York City. I'll be at the South Street Seaport every day at midday, when the sun is highest in the sky. If you are out there, if anyone is out there.
Welcome back. I'm Kevin.
And I'm Josh. Today we're going to delve into the movie I Am Legend. This movie is based on the premise that a measles vaccine was successfully manipulated into a virus that could cure cancer.
This, unfortunately, goes horribly wrong, which leads us to our investigation into whether or not vaccines can be altered into viruses. To help with this, we have three special guests, Jen, Jennifer, and Valerie. Let's start by taking a look into the movie.
So, Dr. Crippen, give it to me in a nutshell.
Well, the premise is quite simple. Take something designed by nature and reprogram it to make it work for the body rather than against it.
You're talking about a virus?
Indeed, yes, in this case the measles virus, which has been engineered at a genetic level to be helpful rather than harmful. And I find the best way to describe it is if you can imagine your body as a highway and you picture the virus as a very fast car being driven by a very bad man, imagine the damage that car could cause. But then if you replace that man with a cop, the picture changes, and that's essentially what we've done.
Now, how many people have you treated so far?
Well, we've had 10,009 clinical trials in humans so far.
And how many are cancer-free?
10,009.
So you have actually cured cancer?
Yes. Yes, we have.
Scientists have been working for years to discover a cure for cancer. This movie takes us on a journey through which we see the manipulated virus not only cause horrible side effects, it also mutates into an airborne virus. There are several aspects of this that we would like to take a look at. So let's start with the use of a virus to fight cancer. Virologist and cancer biologist Dr. Lee had actually come up with the idea to use the virus to target cancer cells before the movie even hit the theaters. Like all viruses, the naturally occurring reovirus he was experimenting with will self-propagate and multiply when attached to a host cell.
Unlike a regular virus, though, a reovirus will only kill the cancerous host cells, not the healthy cells. Since cancer cells are usually masked from the immune system, it makes recurrence one of cancer's most difficult problems to solve. Once a reovirus has been injected, the cancer cells are no longer hidden, allowing the immune system to see and destroy them.
Dr. Lee also began working with immunologist Dr. Guhar to make the reovirus treatment more effective. They have been able to isolate the immune cells that will attack the reovirus when it is injected, and they have found a way to program it to self-destruct, allowing the reovirus to attack and kill the cancer cells.
In the movie, the virus that is injected that supposedly cures cancer instead wipes out 90% of the population and turns almost everyone into mutants. Talk about a bad day. Is it possible for a virus to mutate from its original form into another form? First, let's look at some facts about viruses. When you contract a virus, it does not just sit there in the body. It latches onto one of the person's host cells. It takes out the existing DNA and replaces it with its own viral DNA, and then replicates itself. Viruses can only live inside a cell. Most viruses have little proteins with little knobs that line up and fit perfectly into the surface of a cell. They are designed to attach to certain kinds of cells. Viruses fall into a few categories: respiratory, STDs, and vector-borne. So a flu virus will attach to the respiratory system, and an intestinal virus will attach to a cell in the GI tract. They have anchoring devices that allow them to penetrate and then enter the cell. According to one of the world's top virologists, Dr. Lipkin, viruses don't mutate and become airborne. They just don't do that. So, if that part of the movie is not accurate, what else can we look at to see if it's true or not? How about some of the unpleasant side effects that we see in the people not immune to this virus? Their skin pigmentation changes, they become oversensitive to light, they display hyper-aggressive tendencies, and they have exaggerated strength. Is there any real-life scenario where you will see someone result in these same type of symptoms?
After doing some research, one of the closest symptomatic reactions to the KV virus that we could find would be a case of rabies. When rabies attacks the central nervous system, the victim will go into delirium, have hallucinations, and exhibit violently aggressive behavior. In the movie, it appears that there is a very short incubation period once infected with the virus. However, with rabies, you can see incubation periods up to several months before any serious side effects will start to manifest. In this clip, virologist Dr. Robert Neville is examining a victim of the KV virus. We can see the rapid breathing, and the machine indicates both an accelerated heart rate and an above average body temperature.
There are some similarities to the symptoms of the KV virus victim in the movie and rabies victims. The patients experience painful spasms of muscles that control breathing and swallowing. They cannot swallow because of the intense pain in their throat. As the virus progresses, you will see the change in their behavior. They become agitated and destructive.
Rabies is typically contracted through the bite of an infected animal, but it is transmitted through saliva, after the virus has moved from the brain to the salivary glands.
However, rabies is not contagious enough to trigger a zombie pandemic. Virologist Dr. Andriansky says, "Sure, I could imagine a scenario where you mix rabies with a flu virus to get airborne transmission, a measles virus to get personality changes, the encephalitis virus to cook your brain with fever, and throw in the Ebola virus to cause you to bleed from your guts. Combine all these things, and you'll get something like a zombie virus."
The one part of the movie we haven't touched on yet was the widespread death brought on by this virus. Unfortunately, this aspect is all too real, and we have seen it several times in history. The Black Death wiped out 1/3 of Europe's population in the 1300s. The Spanish flu pandemic in 1918 and 1919 killed at least 25 million people worldwide. Smallpox virus in the 20th century killed almost 300 million people, just to name a few.
In conclusion, we feel that this movie has some true science mixed in with a good deal of exaggeration to make the movie more appealing to its audience.
But just in case, make sure to always wash your hands and stay away from any creepy people looking like they might bite you on Black Friday. Alright, you ready? Let's rock.
Is that what you look like the whole time? She's like posed for a picture.
Measles vaccine. But I can't do this.
Jennifer and Valerie. Let's start by talking. Wait. Is that
Make sure to always wash your hands and stay away from any creepy people looking like they might bite you on Black Friday. Is that too much?
Hysterical. That looks pretty funny because Black Friday is coming.
That was so.
That's kind of gay. I don't know. Are we gay?
Good job.
Oh, that was like.
Awesome.
You were
Rock and roll.
No, I didn't.
I got a son. I don't know what y'all hands.
Guns.
I don't even know how to do it.
I don't know. I was following her and did two fingers, so, you know.